Challenge one. Okay, so I was on the puzzle for the number logic, and I got so flustered. I normally really like logic puzzles and number puzzles. I do them in my free time. That's just what I like to do. But something about it just being the first challenge of the day, seeing it, I was trying to run like the numbers in my head. People were cheering, and I wanted to be like, "Shut up!" But that's really rude, so couldn't say that. Jake carried us. Abir did nothing. I did nothing either in her defense. Jake won the challenge, or finally won it for us, thank God. So it was definitely stressful, that first challenge. Thankfully, On ran back pretty quickly. He then later told us that with his, he had the opportunity to wait 2 minutes for a hexel, and he elected not to do that, which makes sense. We were behind. Sounds like someone on the other team took a long time, but the hypothesis is that they lost. The other thing that happened at the first challenge is Megan bumped into, or she was like, "I have to tell you something." And she told me, she said, I know Maggie Prosser, who is a girl I went to college with. She was in my sorority. Haven't talked to her in 10 plus years, but she was really cool in college. Anyway, but I bring that up because I know Abir overheard it. And so I'm a little bit nervous that Abir now knows that Megan told me something secret. And so I'm kind of trying to think, do I bring it up in a public way? That way it's not like I'm keeping a secret, but I don't want to betray Megan's trust because she elected to tell me. Prosser's now her daughter-in-law, I should say. So we have a mutual connection that she told me about. It's not going to impact anything. Like I said, I haven't had a relationship with her. I feel like the second challenge worked out really well for us because I know that orange team and Lydia has to be so pissed. I just feel like that has to be such a moment of bitterness for them. So I feel like in terms of morale, it's great that we won that. It was clear there's an S and an F. They did it backwards. I was running. I was humbled. I was just humbling. It was hot. Ran around, tried to collect as many as I could. We were trying to get the neutral color ones to put the other team at a disadvantage. So the third challenge, I was playing squares and dots with Justin, and I made a mistake. I know right where I made it, I opened it up for him to box me in, and that kind of created a cascade domino effect. And he capitalized on it immediately. I knew where I messed up, and then at that point I knew at that point he had the opportunity to win, and he took it. So I ended up with 1 hexel, and he ended up with 4. So I only had 1 hexel. 1 hexel is not going to make or break anything. And so I'm also not a great liar. And so I knew that it would just be easier for me to tell the team that I spent it on the 1. Everyone's going to say that they spent it on the 1. But I know mine will be true. I also know I can corroborate my story because Ashley saw me go second, so she knew that I lost. So I think it's a fair thing that I only won 1. I decided to save it. Hopefully that doesn't come to bite me, but I'm hoping, I'm assuming the prices of items will go up, but I'm also assuming that the power of the amulets will also go up as the game increases. And so I figure I can get better bang for my buck, even if the prices go up later in the game. And I will say it was a difficult challenge, or it was a difficult call. The most enticing was certainly the immunity amulet and a lottery for that. Eventually when I do spend it, I think I'm just going to go all in on the immunity amulet. It's just deciding when I think I need it the most. I also could see some people being not selfish right now, so I figured, okay, a lot of people are going to maybe put some tokens in right now, so trying to save it for when maybe people are less likely to put their money in. Also, there's 18 people right now. I don't want to be in a competition with 17 other people. I'd rather there be less people when I start to use my money. That way I can relatively have more than the remaining players. I think that's the main goal, right? I know Shannon found a hexel somewhere, and that also went into my calculus. Right now, I have not spoken strategy with anyone. If I do, the first name I'm going to give out is Shannon, because we were all sitting here, and she immediately went out to the woods and was trying to find stuff. When Ashley comes back, I'm probably going to talk strategy with Ashley and start ask people or what she thinks. So Shannon, I know, found a hexel, and she was very vocal about that, which I think I might try and use to her detriment, and saying, well, she found a hexel, what else could she find? I don't think she found anything else, but I'd rather, start to sow those seeds of doubt. So that's also why I think I feel a little bit better about saving right now.
That we're a pretty eclectic group. There's a little bit, I think everybody's got their strengths. We've got some people who are a little more physical, some people who are a little more strategic or puzzle based, and we've got some people who are very, very analytical and like type A. And so I think so far we have a pretty good mix. I mean, I think it showed in the challenges. Each challenge we had to break up into different groups, and people kind of chose what they felt most comfortable with. And, you know, although we didn't win the first one, just because the puzzle people got a little hung up on something, I think we would have really stood a chance. And then the second one, we, you know, because the other group kind of messed up, we were ready to go, and everybody really, really hustled for the physical portion. And then those of us doing the dominoes and the more technical aspect of it were really careful and had a good plan going into it. So far I think our team is really strong. I think we're very careful. You know, we haven't made a lot of mistakes. We might not be the fastest necessarily, but I think we stand a good chance just with how deliberate and focused we are. After the social, there was a couple people that I connected more with during the social, and so I was kind of hoping that some of them would end up on my team, and a couple of them did, not everyone. So Karen in particular was somebody I connected with. Abir, those were probably the two people, in addition to a couple that ended up over on the other team, that I felt like I had a good read on, or like we had connected over something. And so seeing them end up on my team felt pretty good. I felt like I have a good chance of having a good relationship with them and kind of building that and working through the game. My team is really eclectic, and so going into camp, we were, you know, just chit-chatting and really just getting to know each other for a while. We kind of figured out the lay of the land, took a little lap around camp, worked on building a quasi-shelter that we can throw our tarp on if we need to. And, you know, one or two other people kind of went off and looked for, I don't know what they were looking for. Shannon came back with a Hexel, so I know she was looking for something. But I think most of us really just wanted to connect with each other and establish those relationships. They're so important this early in the game. So that's really what's going to carry you to the end. And so I think that's really what we all focused on. And everybody seemed to really get along, and we're all really supportive of each other. And so camp felt pretty good. We tried to get a fire started with somebody's glasses, and we're unsuccessful, but we'll probably keep trying at it until we get some flint. But yeah, so far it's been really good. There are a couple people I probably have in mind right now, and just because I don't feel like I have as strong of a relationship with, I feel like I really connected with Karen, and so Karen and On are probably two people that I connected with the most and feel the most comfortable with. And there isn't probably anyone else that stands out strongly, but so if I had to like vote somebody out right now, like maybe Shannon, maybe Megan, just because I don't feel quite as connected to them. Yeah, the outpost was cool. I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I mean, I figured there was going to be some food options or some, you know, lottery raffles to get immunity or an amulet of some sort. I didn't anticipate the challenge still being a thing in the outpost, where there was 2 jars, and the actual competition is how many Hexels does your team have at the end of this. And so I had to walk into the outpost, I had my 5 Hexels, and my option was to either drop some or all of them in my team's jar, or to keep some or all of them for myself personally. And so that was kind of a debate I had to balance. Do I want these for myself, or do I want these for my team? And ultimately I felt like I had enough Hexels for myself personally that I contributed all 5 to my team. I just feel like that's the way to go right now, is just to avoid the forge as much as possible. And so, you know, taking one for the team and contributing as much as I could was my choice at the end of the day.
I think Megan's fun. I have been noticing that she doesn't seem like she's a big fan of Lydia, which is good. I love when people don't get along. That means that if they're telling me that as well, then I can just work with that and use that against them. So that's exciting. She also just seems fun. I feel like all the moms in general are really liking me, because I've been trying to just like downplay more of like my like hyper strategy like thinking sort of thing, and just kind of like lay in the back. There have been times I've like held my tongue with like, I think we should do this thing, or I think I should do this thing, just because I don't want to give off any sort of impression that like I'm thinking more. Yeah, I am a big fan of, what's his name? David. I really like David. I talked to him a little bit about like going to school and how I'm thinking of doing like extra years in grad school and going into healthcare and stuff. And he made a comment about how he really likes working with like, for his job he does photography, and he said that he really likes working with people in their 20s. And I thought that was kind of like a little like inclination of like that he vibes with me. I really like a beer. I know that she is a very perceptive person. She has been noticing like subtle details in like how I've been thinking, I know, because we were like painting the boards and I was being like very like delicate and stuff because I'm thinking like I want to like hang this up on my wall in my room, and so I'm like putting so much effort into like every single line. She's like, "You're a very type A person." I'm learning from this, and I was like, "She's right." So I think it's interesting that she's noticing those things. But I do want to work with her because she seems like the type of person who is here to really like play the game. It seems like there's an interesting mix of people who are going to be very like strategy savvy and other people who are more here just like for the fun adventure of it, and that's a fun reason to be out here. I'm here partially for that, but I'm mainly here to win. I really like Shannon. She made a really nice comment. Like my first impression of her was very nice. She like immediately like complimented my eyes and said that they looked really nice, and I thought that was very sweet. And she's another one of the moms, and I think that she likes me. I've been talking about how like my parents are coming to watch on Saturday, so I'm hoping that makes them want to keep me until Saturday, which is like the part I'm not saying, but I'm like, I would feel bad if I was out before that and they didn't get to see me for the whole thing. I like Karen. She seems like someone I could definitely work with. She's just one of the, I guess, she's one of the people in their 20s that I think that I vibe with. We did the first challenge together, and we seem to work well in that, so that was cool. I feel like all the original puzzle people, me, Karen, and Abir, sort of like, I don't know, I feel like we could definitely be a trio potentially. No one has like outright talked about strategy though, which like I want to talk about, but I don't want to be the first one to talk about because then they're gonna be like, we got to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. I feel like just the way that we strategize before the challenges has been very productive and has clearly paid off, because like in the Dominoes one, we were paying attention to the details, knew that we had to start at the S, go to the F, and that's where they messed up. We knew that we had to get my estimate for the Dominoes challenge was that we needed to get 42 dominoes. We ended up using 39 dominoes, so that's pretty damn good of an estimate. And I didn't like outright say like that was really helpful that I did that, but I noticed like Abir was like pointing that out to everyone. But I liked our camp. I thought the how to talk like a Minnesotan book was great. I'm going to start saying bag after the game, just because it's so much more fun than saying bag. What a boring way to say that. And they say oofta. I thought that was really fun. Like, what a cute thing to say. They were saying that like when you sit down, you say oofta. I thought that was cute. So I'll definitely start doing that and bringing that back. Well, when we read the letter and learned that the duels were going to be done privately, I immediately thought, oh, there's going to be some sort of like game mechanic where you're able to be like selfish or like help the team, and that's what ended up happening. Yeah, I definitely could have contributed to the team, and I don't know if I'm going to regret that or not. I ended up winning 8 hexels, which I'm very happy about. I figure that most people don't know dots and boxes strategy, and so the games were closer, so I probably won more than the other people is what I'm thinking. But I also banked it all and didn't use any of it for the team immunity thing, because I want those for myself. I think that those are going to be a very pivotal part, especially later in the game. And I think that based on the total amount that we made as a group, I definitely am on the lower end of hexels, so I don't feel bad even in the odds that much.
Dave is always thinking like 3 steps ahead. Shannon and I are taking turns being the mom of the camp. Karen is very bubbly, very sweet. Abir is also always thinking. She's planning and strategizing and thinking of sort of alternatives for things. Did I say Jake?
Nope.
Very sweet. I think he's very smart and kind of trying to keep a lid on it, for sure. I think he's way smarter than he's showing. An is by far the sunshine at camp. He's just wonderful. I had made a little bit of an alliance with Dre before we started, so I was a little sad that she wasn't on my team. But otherwise, I was happy with the team. It's a good mix of athleticism and intellect and strategy, for sure. So, I mean, I'm pretty athletic, and I don't like math. So I was kind of hoping they would just pick me to do the running. But we actually asked each person to kind of say what they wanted to do, and it happened to fall 3, 3, and 3. So there was absolutely no issue in that challenge with picking people to do things. Yeah, it was great. It was great. I tried to not cheer for my team when they were doing the puzzle because I could see that was distracting for them. I was trying to let them just focus. So we didn't. It wasn't the outcome we hoped for. We didn't win that one, but that's okay. So far, I mean, everybody's on their best behavior. Everyone's being very nice, and we worked together to build a kind of awning to put our tarp on if it starts to rain. Everybody contributed to that. We kind of cleaned up the space underneath it. Everybody contributed to that. I can tell that everyone's going out of their way to make sure that everyone's included in all of the decisions. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the next couple days if I'm here. But so far, no problems. No problems at all. We heard there's 2 snorers, so ask me again tomorrow. Everybody was kind of joking and telling a little bit about themselves, and then An shared that he was deaf in one ear, which we didn't know, and then he's going to get a cochlear implant. And my grandson has cochlear implants. So that was a little bit of a bonding moment. I don't know too many people that have them. And everybody just kind of really appreciated that he shared that, and we're all supportive of his surgery, which will be in a few months. I think that was probably the most touching moment at camp so far. We created a little bit of a strategy for getting the dominoes. We thought that they would expect us to run to our own buckets, so we crossed, and we actually found a lot of our colors on that side. I mean, the ones that were lined up right in front of us. And we knew right away that we were not going to stop until we had too many dominoes. We weren't going to take that chance that we were going to have to go back out again. So we had decided before we started running that we were going to get 40. It was me and Drew, and it was a memory game with only 9 cards. If you got a match, you got to keep going. Mm-hmm. And he just kept going, and I didn't get a turn. I didn't get to go. So he got 4 hexels, and I got no hexels.
You got no hexels.
No hexels. I didn't have any hexels to put in the team thing, so I didn't do that. So I tried to make up for it by getting this food for my team. And then I have celiac, so I know there's some things at camp I can't eat, so I just tried to stock up on what I could eat. Mm-hmm. And then just tried to use a little bit of the rest of a few more my hexels for some strategy stuff, a few immunity, to get somebody on my team immunity, and then maybe a clue. I am pretty sure I have the most hexels of anybody here because I raised, when they say $33,000, I raised a really good chunk of that myself, and I don't want anybody to know that right now. So someone just asked me how many hexels I had, and I said, I think I'm going to just keep that to myself for right now.
The first challenge was an emotional roller coaster. The fact that we were trailing because we didn't get to the first puzzle quick enough, I thought, oh my gosh, we just lost it. It's down the drain. But the fact that, once we were able to complete the puzzle and somebody else got lost on the other team, I was like, oh my gosh, we still have a chance on this. I didn't expect that I chose the long run. I wasn't expecting that at the end of that long run that there was going to be an option to flip the timer out to get a hexel. But because we were trailing behind, I didn't want to risk any more time being lost. So I chose not to use it. But it was a bummer that even though we made up time, we were in the running, but we couldn't close it out. Giving up the opportunity to grab that hexel hurt a little bit. I want to be a more selfish player. But I need to rely on my team as well. I need to be able to feel safe with my team, and I just don't know what they're going to do, and I don't know how the hexels are going to come to play. So I think it was really important for me not to take any big risks and just focus on winning immunity. The thing about our team is everyone is so friendly. Nobody's talking game right now, and it's annoying. So I would really vibe with somebody who wants to be strategizing from the get-go. Right now, I'm vibing with Jake, as well as Karen, I would say. But I think also Shannon is pretty cool as well. But no definitive relationships have really been formed yet. I don't know who I'm going to vote out if we lost immunity. That's a big bummer because I like everyone, but it might be a random selection, personally. What I'm looking for in an ally is authenticity. I need to know that when I look in your eyes, what you're telling me is the truth, and that you're not, faking it with me. And so I'm looking for somebody who, can really feed off of what I'm saying. I can riff off what they're saying, and it feels very genuine. And so far, I don't think I found that on this tribe just yet. But probably because there's not that pressure too right now. Oh my gosh, when the other team knocked down their dominoes, we thought we lost it, but the fact that we won it because of what they say is a technicality, it felt great, honestly. What I loved about our team is that we did not give up at all. We were just in the zone, regardless of what the outcome was. We were ready to knock those dominoes down. So I was really proud of our team for coming together and being a really united front. We also had a really great strategy of collecting the neutral dominoes, and I think everyone was just really invested in making sure our team did well. Yeah, in this last challenge, I faced off against Dre, and I think luck was in my favor in this challenge. I got a match, multiple matches in a row that really allowed me to get 6 hexals altogether. And that was really cool to be able to have that dominant win. But a part of me was also concerned that I was showing my hand too aggressively, that I can be a really good good at memory skills or good at challenges. So part of me is concerned that Dre probably thinks that right now. If I wanted to be selfish, I should have just kept all 6 hexals. I did give 5 hexals into the blue bottle and then kept 1 for myself because I think I deserve a little treat. If we were to lose after I gave away 5 hexals, I'd be really disappointed. I'd be livid, honestly. I think I won it for the team by giving it so much. But if we were to lose, I'm just going to focus on finding the person that I'm going to target out. I think that's the most important thing right now. You can't dwell on sunk costs. You can't dwell on what has already happened. You can only focus on your next move. The fact that I'm suffering is nowhere near as much as other individuals in the trans community are suffering right now. I'm fighting for my charity is Reclaim, and they provide mental health services to trans youth or the LGBTQIA community. And it's just really important that nowadays they're being victimized, so they're being attacked day in and day out. And I want to be able to give back and make sure that they have a space or have the means to motivation to continue going on, because I feel very sad that they are experiencing this life right now. I am fighting right now in this moment to not be the first one out. I don't think I'm going to be the target, but nobody wants to be the first one eliminated from the game. And so I need to think longer term. I need to be more selfish. I need to be able to take more actions that will benefit me rather than think about the team. So I'm going to really focus on that after the first first forge.
I'm worried about the age thing. I'm worried it's just going to be, if I have a lot of young people in the team, I'm worried it's going to be easy to say just get the old dude off. And that's my biggest fear. It's if I get voted off, I want it to be I want to be in the game, in the middle of the game, and people think I'm a threat or whatever, and I'm out, and I can sleep great with that. But if it's just let's just get the old dude off, it's going to be a heartbreak. But Megan's there. Megan's older than me. And then there's Shannon, people are calling her mom. So I'm hoping that people are kind of going to vibe more on personalities and less on age. So I was a little hesitant, but getting back there, everybody's getting along great. There's no weird personalities. Everybody's happy, and it's very early, I know. So right now, I'm cautiously optimistic about the tribe. So the very first challenge was the relay, divided up 3 by 3, and I felt like the beanbags was my strength, so I decided to do that with the other team. And then we got off to a very slow start. Our puzzle solvers didn't, it took them a little bit longer. Our relay team killed it and got us back in the game. Their second relay person got lost, I guess. So at the bags, we were tied, totally tied. I felt very confident, and then we all saw how much harder it was. The beanbags kept falling off the table, and then I made a stupid mistake. Shannon, our teammate, came to say something in my ear. I was behind the bags, getting them and throwing them back to the tossers, and I was just in auto mode, just doing it. And Shannon came and said something in my ear about, "Do you want me to do that or something?" And I said, "No, I think I'm supposed to do it." And one of the other team members landed one on the table, and I picked it up and threw it back. And I just thought, oh, people are gonna remember that, and that could be why I get voted out. So I was excited about the challenge until the end, but luckily nobody talked about it. We didn't talk about it. We just moved on, and then we won the second challenge. So it's even right now. So the second challenge was another kind of running thing, and then dominoes. And I used to do dominoes as a kid, so I told them that, and I offered to do the dominoes, but I also knew I'd be shaky. I'd be completely nervous and shaky. So we had 3 other people do it, but I gave them some advice. I kind of thought, and then it looked like the other team was doing the exact same thing, so maybe it wasn't that brilliant of advice. And then that team, we were neck and neck the whole time, and that team made a costly mistake, and our domino people were awesome. They never stopped, and so when they did theirs and their team was cheering, they kept getting ours ready. And I could see Alex was talking, and they were figuring things out, and they said they had done it from the wrong side, and so it didn't count. And so we did ours and we won. It was great. So we were a lot happier. I think going in and losing 2 would have been a big kind of heaviness around camp, and especially like me, I'm still thinking I could be one of the first targets simply because of age. But I felt really good, and we got to paint after that, so we all got to take a break and just paint and not really worry about it and think about it. We did do some talking about what the next challenge, how many points it was going to be, like if it was going to be winner take all or whatever, or if there was going to be 2 more challenges or whatever. So, but yeah, it really helped out our camp life a lot. Well, Shannon and Megan went off to the bathroom together, and I think they legitimately had to go to the bathroom. But Shannon seems to be playing hard right away. She went off on her own, looking all around, and she found hexel. Mm-hmm. So she did find something in the woods. So she was out looking right away, all by herself. Something I desperately wanted to do, but was very afraid of sending off red flags with everybody. So I was a little envious. So I could tell she's kind of starting to play hard, and I think Megan is too a little bit. So I think maybe those 2 took the bathroom break as a good excuse to maybe forge their connection and maybe kind of talk about what they want to do. So I would love to team up with Shannon. But I'm a little worried. I think other people might say let's try to do Shannon because she looks like she's playing hard. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't have any major hard feelings either way yet, so I'm trying to still stay balanced. Still early. Last challenge was we all have rocks. We knew we were going to partner up against one person, or we were going to have to compete against one person from the other team. It's been very secretive. We had no idea what was going to be. We couldn't talk about it. We can't talk. So I get taken out, and it's a table out in the middle of the field. Lydia is there from the other team, and it's a memory game. It's flip the cards memory game, and I was like, yes, I'm good at that. I feel confident with it. Got very, very lucky that I had to go first, which I was bummed about. We had to do rock, paper, scissors. I won. That meant I had to go first, which is a bummer. I wanted to go second. But luckily, Lydia turned up one that I knew where it was, and it was a domino, and I got most of the hexels, so it worked out good. I thought it was supposed to be the outpost first, but we had to make a decision first, so we earned those hexels. Those hexels were only good for that particular challenge. And basically the choice was I could keep the hexels for myself and play them for my own benefit, or I could put them all into a team pot. And whoever's team at the end has the most in their pot wins the challenge. So I just felt like that was a bigger play because like I said, I really don't want to get voted out first, so I don't want our team to go to the forge first. So I put all of them in our team bucket. And then after that was done, then we got a choice to buy a few things with our other amulets that we earned. We could buy a few things. So I did end up buying a clue to the immunity amulet, and I bought it's information on what's going to happen next in the game. Total honesty, I bought it for our team, thinking our team, we can figure, I'm hoping somebody else bought one because there's 3 different ones in there and we can compare notes. So I'm hoping that gives our team an advantage. And then I put a few in the lottery for immunity lottery. So we'll see. I figured everybody's going to do that just to kind of give themselves a little extra cushion. So this is the clue to the immunity amulet that I bought. It's totally personal. Selfish reasons. I think it's basically in a tree, and I think that's what we all kind of thought too. I tried to pepper Alex with a few questions about whether this was in our camp somewhere or out in the playing field, and he wouldn't tell me. He said there's just one for each team. So somewhere, I'm guessing out there, my plan is tonight, if I think most people are asleep, I'm going to try and go out and look a little bit. I've been kind of casually looking, but I really, like I said, I don't want to look like I'm playing too hard. But ultimately, at some point, we're all going to be doing that. So, and they could have somebody else could have bought one of these too, and they know it too. So if we're all kind of looking up around and stuff like that. It says it's high, but I don't think they're going to make us climb. Megan found a deer stand in our camp, and she wants to climb up there and look. And my thought is, just for liability reasons, they would not do that. So. But maybe, I don't know. And the other one that I bought for the team is much less exciting. It's really weird. I have no idea. I hope somebody smarter at the tribe will know. It's just a picture. I can come up to the camera. So I have to sit and think about that for a little bit. It's supposed to be what's going to happen in the game, so we'll see.
I can't believe I made it. Yay, but and let's do it. I thought everything looked really up to par. I was expecting it to be not as well put together. I didn't really know because I don't watch a lot of Survivors, and I have never played one of these, so I didn't really have an expectation in my mind. But when I got up, I was like, okay, they're organized. This is great. Damn, it's hot, but yes, it's awesome. Losing's never fun, but we tried our hardest. We came back. It was a very close lose-win, so I felt like, it was a battle. It wasn't the war, so, we got to lose some to win some. So we walked away with, we got this. We communicated well. We are a good team. Let's figure out, we know how to strategize together, and it was just like a good stepping stone. I kind of, we started building our fort, and we were all done, I was like, okay, I'm just going to walk around and see where all the blue stripes are, and they were sitting there socializing and kept walking, and then we kind of all came back together, kind of slowed down for them, and then everyone was kind of doing this and doing that, and yeah. There might be better connections between them because they all watch Survivor, so they know all the people from the games, and I've never watched a show, so this is Legacies at its finest for me to literally dive in and see what being out in the wilderness and making friends and community and having a fun game.
So I went up against Philip. I'm gonna be honest, once I saw that it was gonna be Bags, I was like, I don't really give a shit who I'm going against. That was one that was gonna be tailor-made for me. Honestly, the only thing that was kind of stunk about it was some weird trampolines. There's no way to there's really no way to, I'm kind of a master of just kind of sliding it right up through the middle. I could not do that on this one, so it took me a moment to get the learning curve down of just basically having to drill them. But I ended up getting 5. I won 5 out of the 7, so I was very happy with that. And I really don't think that was much against Philip either. I just think that's just kind of my type of challenge right there. Hopefully we can get 7 more of those and I can stick around. So I wouldn't say I was surprised by the opportunity at the outpost, except for the fact, even I had a hunch that there's this challenge that there still could be a factor of this going into immunity. So that was the slight wrinkles that there's kind of going to be people's selfishness at play here on trying to win immunity and kind of deciding how to do that. So it's really kind of that was more the kind of the tough part of kind of how to break down now the hexels and that decision making and kind of what the best. I knew that the options that we were going to get presented were all going to be ones that are going to be very risk-oriented regardless. So that part wasn't, but then just factoring that wrinkle of like not knowing if my tokens are even going to be worth anything getting us immunity or if it's all for nothing, that kind of stinks. And going last, I think, honestly made that probably even tougher because, yeah, there's a lot that kind of wrinkled that for me. So I won 5 tokens, or hexels. I won 5 hexels, so I knew that was going to double me to 10. So I was just like, you know what? I came into this game knowing there was probably a chance you could potentially get more hexels throughout the game, but knowing that was not a guarantee, so I knew I was going to maybe only have 5 to work with here. So I treated it as like these 5 were kind of gravy, and I kind of did well in that challenge. So I was like, I'm going to use the 5 I won at this outpost, and that's what I'm going to do. I decided to use 2 for the team immunity. I'm already regretting 2, but I did. So one of them, I obviously put it in for this round immunity, just because I figured, if our team's not going to win, I might as well then use 1. If I'm using 2 to try to help the team, if it's not going to be enough, I might as well use 1 to try to get my ass out of jail. So I did 1 there. And the amulets are so vague, so that part kind of turned me off, but I think I probably should have done the other 2 on like the safety amulet, just seeing with the draw. I decided to go for the clue, strictly because just the rush of like reading a clue and just trying to figure it out, I kind of wanted that. But the thing I didn't really think about is the fact that we're all pulling from the same clue thing, so both teams are getting the same thing, so it's either going to, that's not really very good, so it's either going to be something that's going to be out there everybody's going for, or it's both of our idols are hidden kind of in very similar locations at our camps, and I read the clue. It is the most generic nonsense of trying to just play into the theme of this season of the stars and stuff like that, so I don't think I'm going to end up getting any idol out of this, so I think I did burn 2 tokens to be able to say I could read a clue. So right now, it's very kumbaya. We'll see, maybe people started going while I was off there all by myself the whole time. So, some people definitely had an advantage getting back to camp here. They could have walked around and tried to find some stuff. But in terms of like who I'm vibing with, just in the times that we've sat around, my initial plan is I want to try to approach both Beer and Karen. And those are kind of the 2 I'd like to really kind of vibe out right away and kind of hopefully get aligned with them, see kind of their paths. They're both just very social women. Like they're just kind of very good at kind of talking there with everybody, and it's not like very like over the top or anything like that. Like bracers, so I think they could be good ones to try to work with, and then try to pick a path from there. Because I am getting really nobody's giving me bad vibe. Megan freaks the shit out of me because she knows everything about everybody. She clearly just used everybody's bios as like a test. Like I think every time we walked up into the social, she was telling everybody our names. I'm like looking down, like, nope, no name tag. She knows like everybody's fun facts and stuff like that. So that's a little bit. And then her and especially Shannon, they just gave no fucks right away. They were just off wandering around looking for things. Shannon was like missing for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and she found a hexel hanging in a tree. That's all I know she found. So from that standpoint, like that's the only thing that kind of sketches me out is that those 2 are just kind of like aloof and just kind of they can kind of do anything. And then based off of 2, some of the I know Megan watches this stuff a lot, so I think she'll kind of know the strategy. But her and Shannon are both talking about how they can't lie, so it's either they're lying about that, or if they really say they can't lie, that's just kind of a wild card element. And Shannon seems like she doesn't even know the whole voting process. And again, I don't know, that might be an act. So like those 2 just kind of like are the 2 presenting most variables for me. But I'm not like targeting them. Right? I'm trying not to throw out a name because we're kind of like testing ourselves and going outside of our comfort zones and just kind of doing all this within kind of its community, and we're doing it all for our own specific causes. I mentioned my charity. It's something that's very close to like my family with breast cancer, impacting it greatly. So just kind of knowing that I'm kind of getting this experience and kind of challenging myself, and it's hopefully going to help out that type of cause immensely. That's great. I'm not really too worried about like sleeping outside or anything like that. It's more so the annoyance of it. I think I'm just going to be awake most of the time, so just kind of laying there. I think it's just going to be a long 6 hours, but it's not really going to bug me too much. I don't think it's going to drain me. I'm not too worried about that aspect. So we'll kind of see too how our team does. We have 9 people, so there might be like 5 people just chilling all night, so we'll see how that goes too.
What's interesting is when I got my bandana and I took a look at my team, I don't feel like I even registered truly that was my team. These are the folks I'm going to be working with. I think I was so just in the like thick of the details of everything that was coming to fruition and wanting to do a good job that immediately I actually didn't register it. I think the first time I registered my team was when we got to our camp and had a moment to just sit down and talk. So the team that was on the puzzle crew for the blue team, when we all got there, we were trying to strategize, trying to get an idea of what it was going to be, but we were wrong. And so when we flipped over the cards and saw the instructions that kind of outlined what we were going to be doing, at first I think all three of us were trying to do the math and figure it out. And then I realized halfway through that I was getting lost in their logic and like couldn't focus on my own. So I just took the padlock and started working on the numbers. And as they rattled off numbers or changed numbers, I just kept kind of trying and essentially pulled myself out. And I said, okay, now I want to try. I stepped in, they stepped back. Eventually we got it. We were second. But it didn't make too much of a difference at the end. I thought we were all pretty close. When we arrived at camp, I don't even think we even talked about the challenge. And I think none of us were quite yet putting our worries into losing that first challenge because we knew that we were accumulating points towards the first immunity. So I think for us, I don't even recall doing like a sit down real reflection on the game. One of the conversations the team did have though, kind of as we were going, is like, what are the lessons we are learning as we play these games? And for me, one of the data points we all discussed was that I am more easily distracted than I thought I was, because somebody was rooting for me and yelled out my name, and I remember sort of losing focus. And so very kindly we were all discussing, okay, what have we learned? And I said, like, okay, one of the things I've learned is that I don't have quite the like level of lock-in attention span that I was hoping I would have. Not having the attention span I thought I had was predictable because I'm on my period and I can never think first day of my period.
Fair. Very valid.
We'll see how tomorrow and hopefully Saturday go. Megan at our camp is very much the camp queen. I think she knows a lot about the outdoors, Minnesota wilderness, camping. So she was providing a lot of guidance about, what are these herbs, what are these trees, thoughts on how we could set up the camp and the tarp. But I didn't necessarily take her to be domineering in any way, just that she had a lot of knowledge and was applying it. All of us contributed to trying to create this kind of like rain-proof tarp camp situation, which was nice. And I don't know, I feel like everybody is playing, everyone is present and nobody's wandered off too much. So far, so good. For today, up until thus far, we have all been together for a majority of camp life. We we walked the perimeter of the camp together. There were some folks who had agreed to collectively go around and see if we could find anything because we had heard that there might be something at camp that was going to help us out. And who was it? Shannon? I think Shannon. Is that a person? Yeah, Shannon. Shannon found it and showed it to all of us. I don't even remember what it was, but there was something. And then, other than that, we've all been together. Anytime somebody goes to get water, they have gone together, and then all the bathroom breaks have been coming to and from the challenges. As I have gotten to know my team, Dave on our first challenge on the way up to the tribe was like, I like you, you seem like, I can't even remember exactly what he said, but I felt like this was a subtle nod to I'd like to work with you. I didn't say too much back, but I do like Dave. I feel like though he stands out and in a really cool and awesome way, but I think that might, as we go on in the game, have eyes and attention on him. And so I'm trying to decide how I want to play that, and I think that's something I need to think about tonight. I bonded a lot with Karen. We have a really similar background, eldest immigrant daughters, and had a really deep conversation earlier about some things that we have, our collective traumas that we have in common. And so I have a feeling that is like a bond that I can play into, but I also want to be careful because I know these types of things make it very easy to get, betrayed and blindsided. Right now, my strategy is to really play into the team and into the tribe, to not grow too close to any one person. So I've had conversations with every single person, and then when we were just all hanging out waiting for the third challenge for probably an hour, at some point all of us had chatted. So I'm trying to keep it pretty even keeled. I'm trying not to show any one person too much attention. And then today, some of the people I've spent less time talking to, like Shannon, Jake, Brendan, I want to spend a little bit more with so that it feels balanced and nobody feels like I'm spending too much time with any one person. Somebody check on me in an hour and make sure I'm still conscious.
Got you.
Okay, so at the second challenge, we had gotten a clue about what the challenge was going to be. Everybody assumed that we were going to be building dominoes. We were trying to strategize, but I was like, I don't think there's much to strategize about. I think we're going to collect dominoes and build dominoes. And after the first challenge, when we were all kind of recapping our data, one of the other things that we had discussed is that we like that everybody gets a chance to say what they would want to do, and then we kind of decide accordingly. And the team does seem to be balanced between folks who want to do like more mental stuff and folks who want to do more endurance stuff. So when we found out that the team was going to be divided into 3 people doing the dominoes and 6 people running, we all went around and said, anybody want to run, anybody want to do dominoes? Very naturally ended up having a 6-3 split. Myself, Jake, and Karen were doing the dominoes, and we had all gotten together and we had said, okay, at minimum, we know we want 20 dominoes, we want people to run, and then we're going to build, and we talked a little bit of the strategy with the obstacles. Once we were able to actually stand and look at the obstacle, we started counting, realized we were going to need more dominoes, and we told everybody to do 6 runs so that everybody would bring back 3 pieces. That would put us at around somewhere between 35 to 45, we were hoping. Once that happened, I don't know, I thought we all worked really well together. Dave had this idea to build from the sides and in, and so that is exactly what we did. We stacked the dominoes well. I wasn't even paying attention to what the other team was doing, and so when they called it initially, I was like, wow, I like emerged from a state of focus, and I was like, I had no idea that they had gotten that far, and I assumed it was over. And then when we heard that they had not gotten it or had not done it correctly, did ours, and it was like euphoria. I was like, oh, I finally get why, like, when people win things, they go jumping around, because I'm like, I'd be so exhausted. Why would I want to, like, jump and scream? But then I jumped and screamed, so that was fun. For a while, when we got back from the second challenge, we were all painting our little hexagons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hexagon.
I love that.
We were all painting our hexagons and learning some like cool tricks. Like some of the people, they painted, what are these called? These like, these? We were painting these, whatever these are, and painted those onto our hexagons. Some people were finger painting. Then we had the fun of like doing the war paint stuff. And it was all just like a nice group conversation. We had good conversations about the mothers in the group, talking about like parenting and how that dynamic plays into how they're thinking about this game. We did another round of data collection. What did we learn from the second challenge? And we had a really good conversation about how we think like one of the things with this game is like we're not playing, you know, $1 million televised reality show. We should just take these challenges for what they are at face value and not overcomplicate it and not try to like hack them or find like cool tips and tricks, just play them straightforward. So I really liked that conversation because I think we all agreed like we're just going to keep it real. And then Karen and I had a really nice conversation about eldest immigrant daughter trauma and the things that we had in common with our like life and our upbringing. So that stood out to me. That was like probably the more vulnerable conversation of the day. So I got the note about the third challenge, read it out to the group, and we all realized pretty quickly that what was happening is we'd be drawing rocks, and whoever has our matching rock on the other tribe is who we'd be playing in some kind of one-on-one. I thought it was going to be something like a rock, paper, scissors style duel, so something that was going to be pretty even-keeled. And I had made the assumption, and I think correctly, that it was going to be something that anybody could do. Like we weren't going to do something too excessively physical or too excessively mental, just kind of in the middle. Didn't know what it could be, but cornhole made a lot of sense. And then we all walked down together, and for quite a while, honestly, almost all of us were together. I think Karen was first. And so while Karen and a couple other people were playing, majority of the tribe was together, chit-chatting. We had some great conversations about TV shows we watch, restaurants we go to, all that kind of stuff. Nothing too serious. As the hours went on, I think I just started to get more tired from the day, and so my energy dwindled a little bit. And then got to the actual challenge, saw Gina, realized it was cornhole. I am not good at cornhole. I am a Minnesotan, so I've played my share of this game, and I know I'm not good at it, and I wish I was so much better at it. And so I already knew I was not going to get a lot of hexels, and I got one. Womp womp. So thinking about the outpost, I figured that we were going to have the option to use our hexels towards either things that were going to be for our tribe or going to be like selfish kind of, advantages in the game or something like that. And so once I arrived at the outpost, it was pretty much what I expected in terms of offerings. We saw, things that were going to be like safety, immunity, other types of advantages that we could enter into a lottery, snacks, I could hoard my hexels. What I was surprised by was Alex telling me that actually the winner of the tribe that was going to be immune was the one that had put the most hexels towards their tribe. That surprised me. What I didn't spend too much time thinking about was what I was going to do, because I felt pretty confident coming into this that I'm not going to privilege like my personal luxury. That's just not a priority for me, and I actually don't feel all that bad besides my exhaustion. Like, I'll sleep on the ground, it's no big deal. So I'm not going to hoard hexels for that. So I am going to hoard hexels for personal advantages in the game and tribe safety. Personal advantages, though, and I said this out loud, I was like, my problem with personal advantages is that I think you get complacent because you think you have something in your pocket that makes you safer, so you kind of are very likely to misplay it rather than play it accurately. And I do think my strategy is to try to prolong our tribe's safety as long as possible to get further in the game before having to go to the forge. And so I put my hexel, my one very precious hexel, into the tribe's bucket. That left me with, I had 6 hexels otherwise, and then I was asked if I wanted to save them or use them. The other thing I didn't want to do was like hoard and like end up getting kicked out of the game, because that's just like such a bummer. And so I did put 2 hexels towards a clue to the idol, because that was the only thing that was sure. It was like that or information or a snack. Everything else is like a lottery, and I wanted a for sure clue to the idol. Because that's certain. So that is what I did, and now I have 4 hexels left. Ooh, these are words. Okay. Twinkle, twinkle, lovely trees, how I wonder what you see up above the world so high like the stars in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, big old tree, your little amulet belongs with me. Because it's obviously in a tree. It's obviously in a big, tall tree. Is that all I'm going to get? Twinkle, twinkle, lovely trees, how I wonder what you see up above the world so high. There's a lot of those. Like the stars in the sky. Maybe the leaves will look like stars. That's the only lead I have. Other than that, it's going to be a big old tree, and I'm going to have to look up. That's a lot of trees to look up at. Okay.
So I got out there and I was competing against, I don't remember her name, but we had a pretty good social bond at the pre-game lunch. So anyways, we do a little challenge where we have to build squares, and then if you build a square, then you take one of the stones, you put in that square, and then you take another turn. So the strat is to set yourself up so that the next person will have to put their third one there so that you can complete that box, while also setting up the rest of the boxes so that they will have to also allow you to complete it when you get a second turn. I think I've made pretty good connections with mostly everyone on my team. I don't think that there's a single person that would throw my name out, if I'm correct. But I also haven't locked anything in with anyone officially, so while no one might be throwing my name out, I don't know if I should start playing slightly, I don't want to say more aggressively, but more actively, just to ensure that I have a solid formation going forward. I feel as though I've seen some people talking game. I have not talked game yet. I was maybe hoping to do so this evening with just a few people. I just don't want to play too hard too quick, and then people have a reason to eliminate me because I've been running around the forest, right, doing the hokey pokey, trying to form alliances, right? So right now I think I have a generally good vibe from everyone towards me, but I also haven't set anything up yet. Lydia did actually come to me and say, I have a good feeling about you, and I just said it back, because why wouldn't I? She also stopped me, Gina, Dre, James, I think it was us, and then herself was part of that, and then she said hey, look around, and someone, oh, and also Phil. She also included Phil in that, and she was like, hey, look around, and everybody was like, what? Like, which I don't know if that was like feigned ignorance or if they really didn't know what she was talking about. I immediately knew what she was talking about, but I wasn't like, oh yeah, because I don't want to be looking like a gamer, right? So anyways, someone said like, oh, for the challenge? She goes, no, I'm saying I like everyone here. So I was like, okay, so actually she has talked game with me. I don't know how much everybody is or isn't feeding into that, but I'll feed into it as long as it keeps me safe. In terms of who I do want to talk game with, I want to talk game with Phil, I want to talk game with Sasha, and I think I also want to talk game with Santiago. I won that challenge, I got 4 Hexals, and I decided to put them all towards my team's immunity. Right now, I think that it's a little too early to start acting like a snake, and everyone's looking for any type of reason to vote you out. If there's even a whiff of suspicion at this first part of the game, they will send you out of here immediately. I promise you, they are sharks looking to eat you alive. So, right now, I want to play honestly. I want to contribute to my team's win. There won't be any flaws in my story because it's the true story. And then afterwards, if we get the win, I get to say I contributed to that. If we didn't, then suspicion might fall on some other people. If I had to go to the Forge right now, I would definitely be voting Gina. I think I've had the least amount of like just talks with her in general, and also I think people were rumoring that like she was going around looking for an idol. So hopefully we can just kind of like, you know, throw her under the bus and just drive her over and just get her out of here. At the same time, Lydia did say she wants us to be in our alliance, so if that crystallizes, I will not be voting her name, but it just depends on how that alliance shakes out, you know, how much validity there is to that.
The challenge went okay. Once I lost rock, paper, scissors, you know, in those memory games, there's not much I could do. So I ended up with only 2 Hexals, but I put them both in my team bucket because I'm a team player. For fundraising, I kind of did the bare minimum +1. And so I only have 6 of those, but I was like, I don't really need these because the snacks were like 1 bite, not worth it. The extra info, I'm like, I don't have any info. I've been fine. Don't need it. And then the immunity lottery, I was like, I feel like my people got me and I got my people. And then, yeah, so I didn't really think many of them were that enticing. So I just put 1 in the safety amulet lottery. My people are Phil, that's my guy. My rock, Gina, she's great. She's totally like somebody that would be my coworker friend in a different world. I really like Dre. They're super cool. And then I'd also consider myself locked in, so to speak, with Justin, who I lovingly call Corbin Blue occasionally. And then also Sasha. Really like Sasha. Pretty much I love all the women. And then my boys, Justin and Phil. I know for a fact we won't lose unless it's a technicality. And in that case, I'll just get rid of one of the men. I'm thinking Santiago because Dre told me she wanted him out. I said, say less, girl. Your wish is my command. I will write it down. And it's important because I didn't want to be the first one to give out a name. But I'm like, okay, you trust me to bring up a name? Perfect. He's probably on my hit list personally as well because I let him use my bug spray and he got orange paint all over it, which is a bit of a bummer. Love the guy, but not about the paint hands. Couldn't have given me a warning, or we had a book in our thing. And it said how to speak Minnesotan. So naturally, I'm like, there's got to be something good in here. I'm flipping through. Nothing fell out. So I was like, perfect. No worries. I'm good. But because nothing fell out, I was like, oh, it's got to be written in here. So I'm flipping. I'm reading the book. I'm being casual. Everyone's laughing. Ha, ha, ha. Silly little Lydia. You would never expect it. And then I see this writing on one of the pages. So I was like, okay. Now's my time. I ripped it out, I shoved it in my pack, and then I put it away. And then, of course, everyone's passing the book around, and I get away with it. Some people don't notice, some people don't notice, some people don't notice. And then finally someone's like, there's a ripped page. And I'm like, wonder what that could be. And then, lo and behold, just about an hour ago, I finally had time to actually look at the piece of paper, and it is completely a part of the book. So it's a handwritten map, and I thought it was handwritten by production, but it's just a feature of the book. So that was a little bit of drama. I had to confess to all my allies, and then now I was like, hey, actually, guys, false alarm. It was nothing. So that also makes me feel good because I felt like there might have been like a target on my back, even though I was open and honest with everybody. But whatever. I think that they just won on a technicality, and I don't think it was fair. I don't think a mirrored challenge is standard. I think we all go left to right. I think the gesturing during the explanation of the challenge was very this to this, and so when we tipped our dominoes and they said we lost because we went F to S instead of S to F, I think that's just baloney and that we really won, and it's just a bummer, especially when you think about the very beginning of the challenge. Blue team all false started, causing then my team, of course, like if we're all going to start before go, they followed, but blue out of the gate. They should have gotten like a 5-second penalty or something, especially if they're allowed to win on a technicality. Come on.
I feel like there's not a clear division right now at all. I'm kind of sitting back, listening, letting everybody talk. There's one person in particular, Lydia, that's driving me nuts because we lost the previous challenge due to technicality. She started at the finish, it went to start, which I'm sorry, but the directions are very clear. Start, finish, SF. It's very, very clear. And the fact that she's like still talking about it, about how we lost and how the directions weren't given to us properly, like I just wish she would stop talking. But that's good for me because the more that she talks, the more that she annoys people, the more they will want her gone. So I'm gonna just keep letting her do it, and I'm slowly like fanning the flames with other people of like, can you believe she's saying that? I can't believe she's still reacting that way. So I'm kind of building the narrative that she needs to be the first one to go from our tribe because I feel like she's bringing the energy down. So that's where I'm at right now. Drive me nuts. Oh my God. I'm sitting there and I'm like, just shut up. Move on to a different topic. Like, let's talk about something different. So Drew and I, Drew is another experienced LRG player like I am. So I'm so happy that he's on my tribe. We kind of stood back a little bit as we were walking towards this challenge, and he's asking how I'm feeling because we haven't really like, oh, we're both played before, let's work together. It's more of like, let's fill each other out. And he's like, how are you feeling? And I was like, well, I'm gonna let her bury herself within the tribe. And then Sasha and I went to the watering well, and I told her I have really good vibes about her. I didn't necessarily say Lydia's name. I said there were certain people's reactions to the challenge loss that are kind of bothersome, but I didn't say a name because I'm really smart. You don't say names. We walked up to the challenge, and there were these rocks on the table and some sticks, and then hexels scattered throughout. I counted there was a total of 7, 2 that we could win, and then 5 that we could earn based off of the game. Basically, it was like the game corridor where you had to block certain stuff in. So I immediately told Stacy, I was like, hey, do you want to just each get 2, and then we can fight for the 3rd one. I really don't need that many hexels because I have a large amount for my fundraising, so I needed just to get enough to help my tribe out, and then go from there. And so what I did is I negotiated that with her, she accepted, and then I realized very quickly after I negotiated that based off of the pattern of how we were going, she would probably win. So I ended up winning 2 from the challenge, and I decided to go ahead and give that to my team bucket because I want us to win, or at least if we lose, I can say I contributed to the team. So I started the game off with 22 hexels because I have been fundraising since January. I've been, since I'm an experienced LRG player, I've been doing podcasts. I have been telling friends, and then last weekend I hosted a one-day Survivor game, and I raised like $600 at the very end. So I came in bankrolled. And what I did when I went in there is, of course, I gave 2 to my tribe so we can win, or if we lose, whatever happens. But then I did 2 for a clue for Hidden Immunity Idol, and then I did 1 for a safety amulet, a power amulet, and a voting amulet, I think. I don't know. So right now I have 17. My plan with the hexels is to use them sparingly as we go. In the event that we lose tonight, and we head to the Forge tomorrow, my plan is just basically let Lydia self-destruct. I don't want to be a player seen as somebody who drives the vote, not at least in this portion of the game. So I'm going to let her move to the pockets of people, and the moment that she says a name, then kind of just shift the narrative onto her of like, this is how she's playing, da 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 da, she's very erratic, and then just start building that momentum towards her. I don't want to lose because it's going to be a very long night, but if we do, like I've done this before, they can be sleep deprived all they want. It's not a problem to me.
So for the challenge, that was pretty rough, to be honest. I feel like whoever won the initial rock, paper, scissors has the advantage, but I took my hexels from there. I lost. Took my hexels, put it towards the team's fun, bought this tasty little sounding MRE, and then saved the rest of my hexels. Day 1 here is like day 15 on somewhere else, so things have gotten pretty heated pretty quick, to be honest. And the vibes, I think, are pretty light so far. Nothing too crazy, but I think they're good. First game we played, it sounded like people thought that I was out just looking for an idol or an amulet, and I wasn't, so I thought that I was kind of being put on the block for a second, and the gossip was going around and saying that Santiago is potentially going to be put up on the block because he's pretty smart. He's really smart, and yeah, almost too smart. But if we go to the Forge, the person that I'd want to see out of here is probably Lydia. She's a great person, really nice, really nice. She's a little chaotic, a little loud. It's hard to think sometimes, and just from the last game that we played, I think she was going a little bit too quick and sort of fumbled the bag. My strategy, I guess, is to kind of keep it a little bit more low-key and hear what everybody has to say, not necessarily choose right away, but maybe keep everything in mind and kind of decide from there where to go or what the best route would be. Is my strategy.
That was a matching challenge where we had to turn over 2 discs at a time and get a match, and I won rock paper scissors to start. And the first two I turned over nothing, and the first 2 she turned over, Megan, my opponent, nothing. And then I got a match with one of hers, and then I got a match with another one of hers. Well, I got the last 2. I got 4 matches anyway, and so yeah, that was awesome. And then I went to the Outpost, and I had the opportunity to put as many of those 4 hexels as I wanted. 4 hexels as I wanted into my team's jar, because whoever gets the most hexels is going to win the challenge, and it's a 2-point challenge, and we're 1-1 tied. So I did that. I put all 4 of them in there, and then I was presented with my 46 hexels, which I got from fundraising, which is awesome. Really appreciative of all the people that supported me. And I put 10 hexels in the lottery raffle for the first 3 rounds, and bought a clue to a hidden immunity idol with 2 hexels. I'm feeling good about some people in my tribe. I'm feeling good about Santiago. I'm feeling good about Justin and Sasha. Yeah. I'm not sure about a couple people. We have one person who's like a real wild card, and I'm not quite sure about that person, who I'm a little hesitant to name right now. I think her name is Kayla. I think. Actually, I'm not sure what her name is. I think it's Kayla. So she was really mad about the one challenge, and I was too. You know, I think that there was a level of unfairness to that, but I understood, because it did say S and F, you know, for start or finish, you know, and because we quote unquote won the challenge, it was announced that we won, and then wait a minute, we did the dominoes from the wrong direction. So anyway, so I don't mean that I don't like her. I like her, but I'm just worried that she is a little explosive, I guess is what I want to say, and maybe that's the kind of energy we need. I don't know, but I'm not sure about that. If we're headed to the Forge tomorrow, if we find out that we lose and we're headed to the Forge, first of all, that is going to suck, because we're going to know that tonight, and so that's going to be for a very uncomfortable all night, and it's going to be very uncomfortable anyway, because it's going to be uncomfortable sleeping in the woods. But I do feel like I have enough of a connection, especially with Santiago, to work with him and come up with a plan. I'm hopeful anyway. I am very interested in winning this game. However, you know, to get there, I have to get through each tribal. I definitely want to get to the jury. And actually, I want to get past the jury. And so I'll be looking for people that I think I will be able to work with long haul, although obviously I don't know how long I'm going to be working with these people. But I'm sure going to be working with them at least tonight and tomorrow morning, and hopefully we won't be going to the Forge. I don't claim the title of senior citizen. I tell people unless it gives me a discount. I don't feel old. And I'm used to being around young people, you know. For one thing, I have kids and grandkids, and then I counsel a high school age camp every summer, and I'm around college students. And so no, I don't know. I've said this before in different settings. You know, I think one of the things that I hope that I'm able to do is dispel some stereotypes about like people of my age, people of my profession, people of my geography. You know, people have strange thoughts about people who are from West Virginia or lawyers, and I'm a judge. You know, so I haven't felt out. I'm glad that in this game we have a few people that are a little beyond the 20s, you know, so I like that.
So when I came into the challenge, I got to play against Shannon, who is super awesome, and I was like cheering her on, and I was like, I know I shouldn't, but it's so fun. We just had a blast. She won. She got 3, I got 1. It was awesome. And then we went into, I went into the outpost, and they said, oh, the challenge isn't over, and I was like, what? It's Twist, you know, and they're like, you can either, help your team, and it's worth 2 points, and I was like, well, for me right now, that's a no-brainer, like, we are in this as a team, so I put it in there, and then they're like, well, you have 36 other Hexels, what do you want to do with that? And I was like, well, right now, and they went through, like, all the options, and I was like, well, right now I want to take 3 of the Hexels and put it into in case our team loses, then my name, has the possibility of getting immunity. And I wasn't going to take any of the food items, even though I'm super hungry, because then regardless of if you say you put your own Hexels out there for it, the team's going to be like, oh, they totally spent their Hexels to get this food. So it's been a blast. This is like overall, I mean, people that I get to play with, volunteers, everybody has just been phenomenal, which makes it really hard. And at first it was like, oh, we're just all going to get to know each other and it's great and it's fine, which is still the case, but there are people who are definitely already starting to play the game a little harder than others that are like trying to wheedle in and be like, yeah, what are you thinking? How are you feeling? And then, we had a little bit of an upset on the second game, and there was a stronger reaction from it. And if you're a linear thinker, that can happen. And there's, I think, maybe like a divided feeling about how people feel about that. So Dre has been asking some questions. I think she's just maybe feeling, or they're just like, Dre is feeling a little bit nervous about, a little anxious about what's going to happen, because nobody's really talking yet. So when nobody's talking, you're like, am I on the outs? What's happening? And then Santiago and I believe, have a little bit of an alliance rolling right now. So we're like, we're going to work together. Alliance hasn't been termed. And then there's been, I'm trying to think, Santiago was like, yeah, that was like, I could have done without the overreaction for the game, and I'm playing super neutral on that right now. So that's where I'm standing, but that's the tea I've got so far. If I find out that we are heading to the Forge tomorrow, I am not going to be the one to drop a name. I'm going to feel it out. I'm going to see what people are saying, where things are landing. Definitely start watching some body language and eye movements for sure. So there is kind of a divide on like how people are feeling about the upset. Like some are just like, yeah, it happens in a game. You get upset, you get worked up, you say some things, and other people are like, that was an overreaction. They just voted themselves out. And it's like, everybody calm down. Let's take a breath. We don't need to quite wheedle in yet. Like, I think some people are already thinking towards, like, if we go to the Forge, like, we got to pick our people right now that are going to go, but people are still showing who they are. Like, not everybody is who they actually are yet. Like, we'll get to know that if we head to the Forge for sure, but before that, we're just getting little snippets, so I can't pass any judgment yet. I would say the 2 people I have the least connection with right now are Gina and I can't remember his name. That's not a good sign. Although we're starting to connect a little bit, but it's going to come to me the minute I leave this. The older gentleman with, he's a judge. Why can't I remember his name? It's going to bug me. Anyways, he's super kind, super awesome, but I just don't have a connection with him right now. So those are the two that I have the least connection with. I wouldn't say that means that I want them gone, but yeah. And my strategy overall is to play a really good mid game, and then when I can make some big moves, I'm gonna make them. And being positive can have some really awesome effects until people start getting grumpy, and then sometimes they don't want that. So it can go either way. I just have to gauge it.
During the challenge, I won 4, and I put all those into the team pot to hopefully win the challenge, the 2 points to win immunity. And then during the fundraising, I raised 14. I put one of them in for a scroll that I have, and then I put 2 of them into for the immunity lottery. On my team, I'm really gravitating towards playing with Philip and Dre. I think they're both really good players. We kind of jived really well even while we were eating beforehand, so it worked out nice that we were on the same team. Okay, so this is my first time doing something like this. I am feeling excited. I was a lot more nervous earlier, so I think it's nice that that nervousness is kind of gone. We kind of get to see where things are going and what we're able to do as a team and how we're getting things done. So it'll be nice to see how later tonight goes and tomorrow and stuff. I think my strategy, I mean, I would like to win. It's the goal. I think I'm not gonna go out and like be ruthless and reckless and crazy. I think in like modern gaming now, it doesn't take an evil person to win a game. So I think it's gonna take niceness and getting along with people and not rubbing anybody the wrong way, because that could be probably one of the votes that gets you out, is just how you react to people.
So I lost rock, paper, scissors, and On got to go first, and then from there I feel like it was majority luck based. I picked up quite a few that he had already done, so it kind of just gave him the answers at that point, which was fine. Like I expected like a matching game to go exactly like that. So I earned 3 hexels from the last challenge, and I did put all 3 of those into the team winning bucket. I think my team's got a pretty big heart, and I'm okay with giving my hexels for my team. So and then I had 10 hexels from fundraising, and I found 1 hexel at our camp. So I put 2 of my hexels into the safety amulet bin. I just feel like if I would have put it into the immunity and my name was drawn, then I would have automatically had a target on my back if the next week that I was available to be voted out. So the team we're very goofy. I don't feel like anyone is really talking game. I've had a couple conversations with Philip, who has said he was like down, like him and I, which I was like, okay, sounds good. But yeah, nobody's really talking game. I feel it's mostly just everybody just having a good time. We were painting our hexels or whatnot. So there are a couple people that are like definitely noticeably like super observant and quiet. So Lydia is quite loud. She has a lot of opinions. I know with our last challenge, she was kind of upset at how that went. So when we got back to camp, I kind of just did give like a little pep talk and like, not to shit on the other tribe, but I kind of just said like, they didn't beat us, they won by technicality, so don't lose your heart in that. Go in with the mindset that we won, obviously still humble, and I think that kind of shut that kind of down. Now it's just a joke. And then there's a couple people who I feel are really observant. I feel like Santiago is really observant. He's just more quiet than everybody else. I do try to interact with him just to like see if he'll pick up on it. And then Sasha is also like very watches and very observant. She's also a sweetheart, so I have good vibes with both of them, but it's just kind of what I noticed based on everybody else. Like, you guys haven't been over there, but we have a mascot for our team right now, so it's like everybody else is just joking around. I feel on my team that I am, if I had to give myself a role, I feel like there have been, 3 or 4 people who want to work with me and have come to me and said, like, I want to work with you 100%. Like, you just give off really good vibes. So from my standpoint, I feel like I am watching everybody else and maybe they look at me and think, oh my God, they're so observant, as I'm calling them observant, but they're also watching me. So I feel like I'm trying to put myself out there socially. Like, I had the idea of we found a golf ball in the woods. His name is Wilson. So I feel like I had the idea. I was like, okay, let's make this fun and lighthearted. So I grabbed that and I was like, let's all do something together as a team, and like, made the mascot. So I feel like I'm the one that kind of is lightening the mood. Lydia's hilarious. She makes a lot of jokes. And I feel like everybody just laughs together. Lydia said that she wanted to work with me, and Drew said that he also wanted to work with me, and Philip has also said that he wanted to work with me. We kind of have a 4 happening with myself, Lydia, Philip, and Gina, but we haven't like all gotten together and like talked. So yeah, I would say maybe there is game talk going on and I just don't hear it, but there's some coming from that side. So if we go to the Forge tomorrow, I could see Sasha or Santiago going. I hope that's not the case because I love them, and again, everyone is so sweet, but maybe I'm on the minority side of it and there's like a big group over there that's working against us. But I would see, like, right now, I think some people have given looks to make it seem like Santiago would be a threat. I have been so stressed leading up to this. I think if people asked me how I felt before the game, they're like, how are you feeling? When I got here, I was crying. Like, that's all it took. So yeah, I've never done anything like this. The first time that I've heard about something like this was maybe within the last year. So it's new. It's not something that I am used to in any sense. I also don't feel like I'm a social butterfly. People have told me different, but from my perspective of myself, I always feel like I'm more reserved than I am, outspoken or outgoing. So partly I'm kind of seeing a new version of Dre, which is kind of weird, kind of fun, but definitely way out of my comfort zone. And I'm, super proud to say that and to be confident in that. So it's definitely a new thing for me. Strictly because he has not approached me with game, I would say that Santiago would be the person I would hope to go. Someone from the social that I immediately clicked with was Megan. When we were actually starting out going to pick our teams, like, I was like, oh my God, like, she was next to me and she felt me like just get really, really anxious, and she just put her hand on my back and, oh God, and told me like just to breathe and that it was going to be okay. And I think that meant just a lot in that moment. So definitely Megan. I would love to be able to, I've known her for 5-6 hours or whatever time it is, so I would love to give her a hug. Like, she's just an incredible soul, and I definitely could see myself working with her 100%.
By landing the first and the last, I got 2 Hexels, the option to put them into the team's bucket. Had I gotten all 7 Hexels, they would have gone into the team bucket. I, want to win the first immunity, don't want to be the first boot. I think if I went to Tribal at this point, I don't think I would be the first boot, but let's kick that down the road. I'm hoping the rest of my team spent the team Hexels or the challenge Hexels on that immunity. I raised $3,300, so I have 33 Hexels, or I had 33 Hexels, because I just went on a shopping spree. 33, the entire cast raised 33,000, so I know that I have about 10%, so I now have a buffer on a lot of these people. So what I did is I used the power of 3 to put 3 in the voting, 3 in the power, 3 in the safety, 4 in the individual first round immunity, and I bought a little clue. Dre, I feel like I instantly connected with. Gina, I feel like we've been talking well. Lydia is loud, and Lydia, I feel like likes and has been giving me information, has been giving Gina information. So if you have someone giving you information, that's a good person to have around, but she's loud, so that could be a danger. If there's a tribe swap at any point, look, Lydia's over there. She's talking loud. Let's vote out Lydia instead of me. So Lydia might be good to keep around. James is quiet. I had a moment to quickly chat with James, and I said, I get good vibes. You're quieter, but I feel like that is good. And I feel like what he was telling me of, like, I feel like I connect with you. I feel like James would be my addition to our 3. Lydia may be more with Gina. And then Justin, the 3 of us all were like, we love Justin. So just the general vibe of Justin. I've been trying to connect with him on Dungeons and Dragons, and it was one of his fun facts, and I want to try to connect with someone. From what I'm seeing in our group, on the outs is Santiago, Drew. I was talking with Gina and just saying, Drew is giving me nothing. There's no vibing, there's no additions, if we swapped, I don't feel like Drew would have my back for any reason. And I probably wouldn't have his, other than, we spent a night together. So that's someone that I don't need around. Love him, great person, but not really doing much for my game. And then Sasha, I feel like could be a 7th into our group or on the outs, kind of in the middle. I would take her in. I feel like Sasha would be someone who would be a loyal person to the people she spent time with. And when we were chatting and saying, there was a page ripped out of a book and this and that, and she was like, no one's telling me anything. So if I can maybe take Sasha under my wing before anyone else does, then Sasha would be with me. So Santiago, Drew, I think they may be on the outs. Probably Santiago seems to be the first vote if we went to the Forge. During the social hour, as we were pulling out the colors from those survival packs, I just saw person after person going to blue, and I'm late in the alphabet, and I'm thinking, put me on blue, because Ashley, Jake, who else? A beer. I would really want to work with those 4, but it could get complicated because they are away from me for a full day. And if we swapped and got together, I would love to work with any of those 4. And I would have wished that we started on the same group together. So as we were putting up the tarp, Dre, the reason why I kind of trust Dre, is Dre looked at me and said, right behind you, there is something in the tree. And I literally looked around at that tree. I saw nothing. Dre's a lifeguard. Dre can spot things. I can't spot things. So maybe with this clue, I might ask for Dre's help. While I basically waited till a certain point to say, go. Like, while watching everyone facing the other direction, just Dre went and grabbed it. I think it was just a hexel. I think it was just something. But, that's fun. Lydia, with the book, tore a page out thinking that there was something in the book because there was like handwritten something. It was just part of the book. She realized that after. So that kind of bonded me, Lydia, Dre, and Gina as like we're the page ripping alliance. I run games. I run one-day games in the park. I've run 6 Survivor games, 4 Big Brother games, 2 Amazing Race games. So I am a challenge host, or in a competition host. Most of these people that play in my games don't know strategy. Some of them do, some of them don't. I have played online minis in 2020. Back in the COVID days of everyone's doing an online mini. And so I consistently in Survivor games would do well in the pre-merge, get to the later game and was too big of a threat, get cut down in the 7 to 9 range, which is where you cut down someone you don't want to make it to the end. So I see that about myself. It's a very different thing. I've played one live game for a longer weekend. I was blindsided in 3rd place. I went around the corner and cried. I didn't see it coming. It was a unanimous vote on me where I thought it was going to be a unanimous vote on someone else. And so I felt it. I had never played a live game before, and so that pressure of going in and being cut down on day one before you even get into the game, thankfully I got back into the game through a comeback twist, and I went a few rounds and they cut me, and the second time I walked around the corner getting voted out, I said they made the right move, I was winning this game. In 7th place. When I played a game, I had just hosted 4 Big Brother games in a row to raise money for this. And that's how I raised $3,000, was hosting back-to-back weekends in my house with 50 people over the course of 4 weekends. I then went to a live game where I was like, we're good. I just like watch this. I designed this. In a game like this where you are a player, you only have the information that people tell you, and we're sitting over in the corner and we don't know what's happening over here. We don't know what's happening over there. When I am hosting, I have a spreadsheet of every single twist, every single challenge. I have tested the challenge. I know everything. I know my players, and so it is frustrating to not have the information.
Yeah, so last night, just, I mean, in terms of the overnight, it was quite the first night experience. We all kind of started sleeping as is, and you got 9 people kind of sleeping under a little tarp area. That's already tough. We had the mosquitoes buzzing everybody's ear, and then it turned into a full-blown thunderstorm. We had pouring rain and lightning, so we had to go move and sleep in the barn for about an hour and a half, and then it got light, and then we just kind of went back at it. So I don't think really anybody slept too much. I definitely do not feel safe. I only got myself to blame for that one. I kicked ass in bags. I honestly thought our team would I thought everybody was doing bags. I didn't know everybody was doing different challenges. I kind of thought our team would kind of stink. So I figured that there was a decent chance we weren't going to win the challenge as is. So I had 5 tokens and decided to put 2 into the tally. We ended up losing by 1. So if I would have used my other 3, we would have won. And I used the other ones on myself. Going into the results, we had all kind of tallied up kind of what we think we should have, because I was honest about winning 5. So all of us people that have that won a lot, the targeted on us that we're clearly lying. So I think it's pretty obvious that I'm one of them. So I think that is not helping me. Obviously somebody else is though too. So that's not ideal, especially since that stupid clue that I decided to choose for the idol was worthless. Pretty sure it's already gone too. And then also Megan got the same goddamn clue, and she told me about it anyway, so I paid 2 tokens for nothing. But yeah, as far as the vote, I definitely think there's a chance that they are lying to me, and it's truly me, because they're on to the fact that I clearly lied. I think the most likely name right now is Shannon. But the interesting wrinkle to that is, like, it's looking like hopefully everybody just goes on Shannon. I might get 2 votes. Otherwise, yeah, I get blindsided. But the other thing is that Megan and Shannon, and I know Megan, she's talked to me a lot. Like I said, she gave me the clue. They've been trying to get me. They think Dave is the one who lied. So they've been trying to get me and Sabir to flip in case of a vote split and try to win with 4 votes. I started to think that ended up being a ruse, because the other group started telling me that, that they were saying my name. But then Sabir, who I do semi-trust pretty well, and if this ends up kind of going the way, if I end up surviving here, I think she will be the one I fully trust going forward. She told me that Megan and Shannon stopped her full-blown right before we went and asked again if she's in on the plan to do the kind of the minority vote split flip. And I don't know, Sabir just had no reason to tell me that, and I kind of saw the way that she was talking to Shannon, the way it was going, it kind of seemed like it was real. So if that happens, there's a chance that maybe Dave ends up getting a couple votes from those 2, and I don't even end up seeing my name. So it's going to be a wild one. Most likely Shannon's going to go. She's most likely to go home. I absolutely will not be blindsided if I do go home. I think it's a chance that I do go home. And then there's just a chance Dave gets votes.
Last night was, after our loss, we went back to camp and it was kind of quiet, disappointing, not knowing really where to go. We're tired, trying to make talk at the last night, but then really kind of left it for this morning. It's hard because people are saying one thing and other people are saying the other, and you're like, okay, but then I'm hearing my name, so I'm like, oh no. So all this fun small chitter chatter of like who they're really voting for has been kind of weighing us down from last night to this morning. So well, if everyone is being honest, I would say Brendan would be the one voted out, but I have a feeling that I'm gonna be the one that gets voted out. Am I supposed to be saying this? I don't know. I'm just hoping for the best, and I hope whatever is meant to happen is gonna happen, and yeah, it's been a fun journey so far, so we'll see.
Yeah, last night was a challenge. A lot of us were really disappointed by the results of the challenge. We were so confident that we had it in the bag. And we were just honestly really confused when we got back to the camp, and it was apparent that somebody lied, essentially, about how many hexels they put into the bucket. So the team was trying to decipher that as a whole. Ultimately, we really just brushed it under, the bridge, and just continued on with our night. Last night, it rained heavily around like 4:30 in the morning, early this morning, and so we had to be evacuated, given the situation. But yeah, just sleeping outside in the camp area was not very pleasant, so I'm happy to be up and running right now. I am expecting this forge to come to a pretty much unanimous decision. I think the tribe is pretty much set on getting Shannon out. Shannon is pretty close with Megan, and I think it's pretty clear that they are tied together. So we kind of want to cut that connection or that relationship off. So I think most of the people are going to be voting out Shannon today.
After the challenge, when we went back to camp for good, people started splitting off. I have immunity this round, so I wasn't really as tuned into that as I could have been if I wasn't safe. Yeah, people went off into groups quite a bit, left me and Shannon. So something was going on there. I'm not sure what. And even now, I'm not sure I'm really in on the decision. I had to kind of go to each person and say, "What's up? What are we doing?" So honestly, it's going to be sad. We're going to be sad. We're pretty tight, and we like everyone, and we know this has to happen, but it feels tough to do it to somebody first, somebody that you care about, slept next to, and helped keep you warm last night. So.
We lost the challenge. We did the math. I think it's very disappointing because, assuming everyone's telling the truth, which with this point I believe is true, we won 6 out of the 9 duels. 3 of those duels were the higher stake ones with more hexes up for grabs, the ones with the number 3 rocks. And allegedly we won all those. So we were in possession of the most rocks, or hexes, excuse me. So we should have won. The other team gave up or used 3 selfishly. Our team used 9 selfishly, and we lost by 1. We know for sure 3 of them. Jake used 2, and On used 1 selfishly, so there's lies about 6 of the stones. My personal theory is Shannon and Brennan use them selfishly. I'm just reading from body language, nothing else. But yes, very disappointing that we lost. Also, I lost my challenge because I made a mistake and Justin capitalized on it, so also frustrating. Night was tough. I think, we kind of all had a moment of like, oh, is this it? Like, we're just looking at the ground saying, is this really where we're sleeping? And people were trying to say where we're going to sleep, and we don't all fit under the tarp. And I was like, I'm not going to sleep that much anyways. I'll just start outside of the tarp. When the storm came, I actually kind of started to get kind of nervous. Just the lightning was so loud and the thunder was rumbling, and it just woke me from, I'm not going to say a deep sleep, but a sleep. And then you can just hear the pattering of rain starting to build up. So I hightailed it to under the tarp. Dave was really nice. He's like, it's okay, like, we're good, we're all gonna hang out here. And then thankfully Sean came, took us, and then we just took shelter in the shed on the concrete for like an hour. I was actually pretty lucky in terms of the last challenge, in which I was the first one back. The next person back was Ashley, who right now I feel like Ashley's my number 1. And then Jake came in, and I also feel really good about Jake. So the 3 of us started, and then we knew we wanted to get to 5. So then we pulled in Dave. and then Ashley wanted to pull an on. So it's Dave, on, Ashley, Jake, and I are 5. What we're doing is we're going to vote Shannon, but we're telling Shannon and Meg Brendan. I was the one to tell Shannon Brendan, and I asked Shannon to tell Meg. So I know there's likely going to be fallout between Meg and I if it goes how I'm thinking it will go. So that's something to keep in mind. Abir also feels on the outs. We're trying to tell her that she's part of our group, but we're not going to tell her that she's 6 out of 5. Dave was like, oh, should we tell her that we're 5 strong? And I had to very casually tell Dave, let's not do that. If I were in Abir's shoes, I wouldn't want to know that I were 6 out of 5, because knowing Abir's personality, I could see her really trying to play hard and want to stay in it and try and sow chaos. So I think it's just better if she just thinks we're a group of 6 strong, but we have a 5 within the 6. So hopefully, if the things go as I think, it should be 7 votes Shannon, 2 votes Brendan. But I do know Shannon and Meg have been playing hard. I think they know that Shannon's name is out there. I know they've been trying to pull in Brendan and Abir too. I definitely saw Abir talking with Shannon and Meg, so we'll see. I raised $2,300 for Women's Advocates. It's a domestic violence shelter for survivor victims of women and their children of domestic violence, and it's a absolutely fantastic program, home out in St. Paul, and they do amazing work. The stories of those women just inspire such resilience and strength, and it's a cause that can always use more money and more resources, especially in today's times.
When our team found out that we lost the first immunity and we're headed to the Forge, I think we were all more devastated than we thought we were going to be. Coming into finding out the results, we had done our own calculations based on the information that we had all disclosed, and based on that, we were under the assumption that we were going to win, especially because we had won a majority of the one-on-one duels. And so, right after finding out we lost, besides the devastation, I think the next thing that began was the accusations of lying. And what was incredibly difficult was heading back up to camp. The conversations had already begun, like based on where you were in your placement in the line up to camp, based on when you were going to the bathroom, the conversations had started. And so I think I realized very quickly, like, I got to find a natural way to weave into these conversations and also simultaneously go to the bathroom a lot, I guess, and see what I could make happen. Our first night at camp, whew. Let's just say that in the middle of the night, I genuinely thought that I was in the Hunger Games and they were sending drone flies to my ears to torture me. Because all night, and everybody discussed this in the morning, but in the night, I thought I was the only person experiencing this and I thought I was going crazy. You would just hear zoom, 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 zoom. Like, the next thing you know, you're getting bit in every corner of your body. And at one point, I was fully mummified in all my clothes. I mean, not a piece of skin available, but of course that also meant my mouth and my nose. I couldn't breathe and I could not sleep. And then eventually, I think I managed to get maybe 30 minutes in. I'm going to guess 3:30 to 4 a.m. And that is when the thunder and the lightning began. And we were evacuated to the barn. Yeah, the barn. Where everybody was wet and damp and it smelled like dogs. But yo, we had a clean floor and no mosquitoes. So I was fine to do that. I didn't really get any more sleep, but I was grateful to rest without the mosquitoes torturing me. The game began last night when we were coming back from actually finding out the results, and then when people started going to the bathroom or getting water, I think conversation started. And so there was one point where myself, Shannon, and Megan were left at camp, and I was like, shoot, like, just by way of the distribution, even if people really were going to the bathroom or getting water, this makes me nervous. And then there was a point in which there was a group of people in front of me who I saw look back, talk to each other, and nod, which gave me information. So I was freaking out. I was like, okay, well, they've already decided it's probably me or it's probably Shannon. So towards the morning, because we were all awake, nobody got a lick of sleep, in the morning, I started grabbing people one by one and just saying, I want to work with you. What's in your mind? What's going on? And slowly, one name started to emerge, which is Shannon.
So I'm hoping that that's the way it's going, because otherwise it's definitely me. So we will see. I don't feel comfortable going into this vote, and I am nervous, but at the same time, I think last night debilitated me so much that I've like come to peace with whatever happens. So that's unfortunate, but I did my best this morning to try to get a read on people, and last night I was feeling nervous. This morning I'm feeling like, no, a lot of people felt like they were losing out on conversations and really wanted the conversation to move forward. And so I'm hoping that what they were telling me is the honest truth. And a lot of people have brought up Megan and Shannon as a duo, which they kind of are. So hopefully that reigns true, and that's given me a little bit more comfort today. Moving forward in this game, I really want to work with Dave, Dave and Jake for sure. Everybody else I'm still sussing out. I think Dave is going to be a target later on in the game, and so protecting him now hopefully will score me points later. I think Jake is very earnest and readable to me right now, and so I'd love to play with him. I wanted to play with Karen initially, but it feels like she's talking to everybody and is not being straight with me, so I'm not so sure anymore. I am playing for the Bond Between, which is one of the Midwest's largest animal rescues, and they provide very specific programs designed to keep, you know, animals treated with compassion in ways that I think a lot of rescues and shelters just can't. And so I'm specifically playing for one of their programs called the Respite Foster, which helps keep families and their animals together during times of temporary crisis like domestic violence, homelessness, incarceration, medical emergencies, things like that.
I mean, honestly, I went in expecting to get 0 sleep, and that's exactly what happened. So my expectations were unfortunately met, but it really wasn't that bad. You know, the more I think about it, I'm like, I think I can do this one more night. One more night after that might be a little rough, but overall it was good. You know, there's a downpour for a bit, so we had to kind of move camp, but I wasn't sleeping anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. So, I mean, the mosquitoes were annoying. The ground is hard, but it is what it is, and we all survived, and we're all in really good spirits today, so that's good. After finding out that we lost, I mean, before I found out that we lost at the outpost, I got really lucky, and it ended up just being me and Karen the first two back at camp, and she was kind of the person that I was feeling out and had some good vibes with, and so I really wanted to talk to her one-on-one, and I finally had that chance, and she was feeling the same way, so we instantly connected, and that felt really good. And then we talked a little bit more and ended up pulling in a couple more people, so we ended up pulling together this alliance that I feel pretty confident about. And you know, once we found out that we lost, we were pretty depleted. Like, deflating is probably the right word to use. We had kind of tallied up what we thought we had all put in and what the max the other team had been able to put in, and the math just didn't math at the end of the day. So some people or person were lying to us. So that was kind of tough to take in, and I think the whole team kind of had a hard time sitting with that for a while. But once we found out we lost, you know, then we started having conversations. I got together with my group of people, and we kind of all came to a consensus of who we'd like to vote off today. It was, you know, nobody wants to be the first one sent home, or nobody wants to vote somebody off first, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Our group kind of landed on Shannon. Megan has immunity. She won the immunity lottery, so her and Shannon kind of seem to be a pair. That's what the rest of us have observed, and so the rest of us, kind of a group of 5 plus, it was me, Karen, Dave, and Jake kind of became this group of 5, and then we brought in a beer and Brendan and kind of settled on Shannon, so I'm pretty confident that that's what's going to happen tonight. I mean, I'm excited for the Forge. I feel pretty good and confident, so it's not too anxiety provoking for me, but again, you never really know. You just hope that the people that you put your trust in are trustworthy and are going to do what you think they're going to do, and so I'm excited to see what happens.
It was fun. It was challenging, but actually very fun. It's legit. This was, for some reason, I thought we were going to have tents and we would kind of be roughing it, but this was legit. It was on the ground with a tiny little tarp, nothing else on the ground, nothing to cover us, just us and the mosquitoes and the lightning, and then eventually the rain. Yeah, it was cool. It was legit. Coming out of Outpost, I felt good because I gave all of my Hexels to our team, and I felt good about that. And then I bought a little piece of information for our team that I shared with the team. So I felt good, and I felt our team was going to do the same thing. I just felt that, and we all did. We got back, and we all started counting up and adding up, and everybody was 100%, like, just seemed, you know, totally honest. And when we got to the final and found out the count was not the count that we had, we were shocked. So obviously somebody lied. And I don't really care who did. I don't know. For some reason, I think maybe Brendan kept some for himself because he went last. I think he had the chance to win the most, and so maybe he could have kept a few or some. But it's just a guess. I don't know. I know 100% I put all mine in. I think the people that I've really talked to did too, but obviously somebody's lying. General consensus is that Megan and Shannon bonded. They just seem really tight. I feel bad for them too because they felt like they were separated slightly, so they just had to be together kind of thing, and I get that. But it was just, at some point we all had to start talking, so we just all had to start going and getting water and going to the bathroom and going off in groups, and we just had to just start talking. And they never did, so I think that kind of made people a little suspicious, just that their core group. And so if everybody's above board, the overwhelming idea is that those two need to be separated. Megan played an advantage and won the lottery, so she's immune. So it would have to be Shannon. But we also found out that Megan bought a clue to where the hidden amulet is. And so she's been looking for it all morning, and she's been making no bones about it. She's looking for it. And so if she found it and she gives it to Shannon, then it could be the bad scenario for me that I'm worried about, where if one of them just puts my name down just for it. Because if we all vote, there was talk of splitting the votes, but it's too crazy. It's just, we couldn't figure that out. We don't have enough time to talk to each other. It's not as like Survivor where you can go off in the distance and talk for long periods of time. We got very short periods of time to talk. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I do trust the core group, but there have been little groups of people going off, and it makes you feel weird, but everybody comes back to me and says we're good. So I don't know. I'm trusting everybody. I'm just not going to overthink it. I'm just going with Shannon like everybody else says they're doing, and it's nothing against Shannon. She's totally cool. She's totally great. It actually kind of bums me out because I think her teenage daughter's coming here today to see her. So, but who knows? Shannon's going to possibly have an idol play it, and boom, it's one of us. So we'll see.
Last night was very tumultuous for me, mentally and emotionally, because I was not expecting my decision to cost us by such a small margin. And so I did genuinely feel bad that I'd cost our team immunity. But I'm also glad that I have like extra information and an advantage in the game now. So I was, the lie that I've been telling them is that I did win 8, but I told them that I put 6 in and saved 2. And so I've been channeling my sadness into like, oh, if I'd put those 2 more in, then we would have won, when I'm really upset that like if I'd put in like 2 at all, then we would have been able to win. But a lot of the nerves came from when we got back to camp after the challenge. It was someone's idea to like go through everyone's bags and stuff, and obviously the power amulet was still in my bag, but I had my backpack in front of me. So I did a very risky like sleight of hand maneuver of like unzipping it in my backpack and like just leaving it in there and then showing my bag out. And I think what everyone else was concerned with was looking at their own bags, so I genuinely don't think anyone saw it. And based on how I've been talking with people today, it really doesn't seem like anyone suspects that it's me. Brendan was even saying like, dude, if you were like lying about it, then you deserve like an Oscar for acting. So I'm putting up a good front, and it has become more comfortable. It was a lot of pressure last night, and I was getting very paranoid about it, but now I feel like, oh no, my flower. But now I feel like I'm really in the clear, and like I feel like I'm in such a good spot in the tribe. Like I feel like everyone like wants to pull me aside and like talk to me, like both sides, everyone. I just feel like I know where everyone's head is at, and that's a really powerful place to be, is just having the full side of the story of what's going on. The advantage was called something like the team shuffle thing. I didn't want to bring it over here because my team is literally sitting like within eye distance that they'd be able to see me revealing it, and I didn't want them to be suspicious. But basically in rounds 2, 3, and 4, I have the ability to like choose people to swap tribes. In round 2, I can swap 3 people. In round 3, I can swap 2 people. In round 4, I can swap 1 person. And David has shown me valuable information, which inclines me to think that there's going to be a tribe swap at 15, which would be round 4, and then so I can't get swap screwed essentially, because if I'm like me against like 4 people on orange, I can just swap myself out of that situation right away, and that's really nice that I can take the game into my hands like that. Hopefully I won't have to use it, and I can save it for like a fake idol or something like that, for a bluffing tool in the late game. I think that would be exciting. I'm having fun, and I feel like I'm in a really good spot. I'm excited to see what happens today, because it seems like the game's really going to pick up.